Hello there, I'm Professor W, and welcome to the WMansion. Hello, many years ago I founded this mansion in 1963. I wanted it to become a school where people who were mutants, who had square-shaped heads, and had the strange power to punch trees and stuff like that. They could do many things. And oh, let me get out of this chair. There we go. In fact, while we're at it, let's get that stuff back in. Let's take a tour of this place, shall we? As it's a nice place, and why not? As you can see, Professor W's School for Gifted Mutants. That's the people who receive gifts. What kind of gifts? I don't know. I've never been the recipient of one of those. But those who can't do teach. It's a wonderful, nice, warm, relaxing atmosphere that this place is. Many great things about it. Of course, the first thing we must say is let's talk about the facilities. The facilities are most excellent. Now out here, we are planning on making a little pier so that you can go sailing off into the distance and have some boating excursions, because I think boating is important to the soul. In here we got a nice little terrarium. We're going to increase this by adding more plants and things like that. But until that point in time, it's just a little starter thing. I think what happened, I think we have a new student who's been eating some of the flowers. That sort of thing happens. Here we have visiting dignitaries. Visitor's room. It's just not much really at the moment because we've been adding a few things, and it's just really a bed and a chair and a table, and that's all that it really is. I was going to add a couple more furnishings, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. I mean, after all, this place used to be one of the classrooms until one of our teachers got killed by the marauders, so you know how that goes. There's another visitor's room, looks just the same. These were both once one big double-sized room, and there was no point. Ah, here, Mutant W. Now, we don't go in there. I'll open it this one time. Mutant W is in that jail cell, and I don't want to talk much about that. Why is he in there? Well, because some of our students are not very ruly. They're very unruly, and it does happen. Storage rooms where we put a lot of our personal effects. Each student has his own or her own. That's only 13 chests, though. Some of the chests are missing. We were using another room over here, but this is going to be converted into a deep freeze, and we're going to store a lot of food. And, well, it's going to be a smaller room, and so we're going to have another room open up, and we're going to use that, and I haven't set that up yet. Here's the classrooms, 101. Now, as you know, in George Orwell's famous Room 101, they had a lot going for it, and a lot going against it, but this is where you get your attitude from. Attitude is very important. How you conduct yourself is very important in these classrooms. I used to give the lecture here myself. In fact, sometimes I still want to as a substitute, but for the most part, I teach other things. Attitude is most important. A man's a best there is at what he does only if he tries very hard to do it. Piloting aircraft. Yes, we have an aircraft, although we had to clear the runway on the roof, and we were going to have a secret basement, and right now it's in storage. But we do have a class for teaching how to pilot an aircraft. Unfortunately, the Blackbird was singing in the dead of night, and it got destroyed. So that wasn't a very good result. Wait, is there more? Did I miss something? I missed something, didn't I? I went the wrong way. Even I get lost in this place. It's just so beautiful. Ah, here we go. Here's where we moved a lot of the terrarium stuff. We're probably going to have more in this room. We're probably going to add a few more flowers and things. It's not that big of a deal. In here we have a strange pumpkin farm and a melon farm. And I find that very interesting. Especially since this is the only place where, well, you've got to light this place up, I think, is the important thing. I don't know what it should be, but I think it should have been lit up some time ago. Does it need to be lit up? Oh, yes, it do. It do indeed, and so we do. Oop, and so we fall into the water. Now I'll take you down the nice rosy red path of redemption. My students have come here, and when they are done coming here, when they have graduated, a lot of them stay here for teaching purposes. And the reason for that is because we are always understaffed. We have many a people in this fine establishment. Over here we have my own personal chambers. That's not important whatsoever. But, you know, we got a nice carpet, a nice little bed, nice 4-poster, you know, and we've got some of our contraptions for doing all the building, because I do most of the building. Now here, unfortunately, Ileana has left one of her portals open, and so we blocked it off so that the big creatures can't get through. And so we tell people, please be sure to kill all the demons that get through. And only one little child demon got through, which was good. It's not important. There is a nice soothing sound to this portal, though. So what we have is a meditation room where you can just sit in repose and enjoy the nice ambiance of this place. I heard a witch. And you know what that means. When you hear a witch, it means Ileana has been at work doing something. Or maybe Wanda's paying us a visit. That's entirely possible. Wouldn't know about that. There's the W, standing for Professor W. And that was rather obvious. What else would it stand for anyway? On the second floor. On the second floor. This is a beautiful countryside. We are going to have to clear some of the trees nearby so that the place does not catch fire if we should ever have a forest fire. But other than that, it is a gorgeous place with very large hills in the distance. I don't remember there being a hill over there. Not important. Now this was at one point a student's lounge, but they've been doing upstairs stuff, so we might convert this to something else. It's a nice little small study area. We might do something. Ah, this is the danger room. Now you gotta watch out for the danger room in here. This is where people fight. Oftentimes they even want to fight to the death, but they're not supposed to fight to the death. But I have to say they sometimes do. It's just basically you go in there and we subject people to various things, and then you can climb up here and watch it, so you can get some kind of appreciation of what they're doing and why they're doing it. And maybe you too can learn the lessons that they learn in trying to overcome their adversities in fighting one another. I try to keep it safe in there. We always have an adult must be present at all times for supervision purposes. More classes. Classrooms are the backbone, the hallmark, you might say, of this place. There's continuity. Continuity is one of the most important things. Why, not so long ago I taught the story of a mysterious Russian colonel with an eye patch who was going to visit us, and then he never went around and visited us, and years went by. And this was important, and so I taught about it. You may notice that it's kind of dripping in here. That's very unfortunate. I have to get that fixed. I have no idea. Just never know. I suspect Iceman might be to blame somehow. Over here we got... Oh, it's not coming soon anymore. Wait a minute. Yes, there we go. Resurrections are important. Now you might say, how can they be important? But it's very important because you've got to spend your time, and you've got to do time possibly in some other place. But mutants are forever. They come back to life, and they have quite a lot of fun. They come back to life, and people can be overjoyed to see that they're not actually dead, that they either fake their own death. Here's another coming soon. It's no longer correct. 205. Subscriptions. Yes, we offer subscriptions. I mean, after all, without subscriptions, how could you afford to hear your own story about what goes on? And without subscriptions, then people are not interested in hearing about these things. Subscriptions are very important to mutants. Must learn everything that you can. The next one, crossovers. Yes, crossovers are very, very important. Why, without crossovers, you would be very lonely. So we teach people how not to be lonely. And so by not being lonely, having crossovers, yes, and also there's a problem, there's also fighting. That's going to be another classroom. We haven't set that one up yet. Unfortunately, there is fighting to be had with crossovers. This is a dead end. It appears here for the first time. We were going to stick something in here. We may convert this yet. But We believe these support columns have to be modified so that we can make the space. Well, those support columns anyway, before we can make that into a separate classroom. We haven't decided that yet. Still working on it. The teacher's dining hall. Lots of talk about shop. You know, I remember Magnus spending many a day in here trying to explain how he wasn't able to control the New Mutants. That's not my problem. In fact, it's never been my problem, so who cares? Over here! Teacher's Lounge and War Room, yes. It's an excellent place to plan what we're going to have to do to stop the externals and others such like. There are always people who are trying to do us in. We could have had some classrooms about propaganda. We could have had some classrooms about anti-mutant sentiment and hatred, but these things are very easy to teach, I must say. And consequently, there's no point in teaching these classes. You'll notice it is very safe in here. This once belonged to my family, but I was invited to spend the night out here, and it was terrifying. But I managed with my non-powers to stop them all from causing any further havoc. Or Polaris. No, havoc. Definitely havoc. Okay, over here on the bulletin board. Okay, so here's a note saying we need Hank to donate more blue first so we can finish the carpeting. You may have noticed some of the edge on the carpeting is not finished. Actually, we need black carpets, not blue. But we can transfer the blue carpets to another place, and then we can change it for the black carpets. But we're going to make a tunnel down to my old Death Gulch, and we're going to get some there. Kurt, please do something about the creepers. That was somebody else's mistake. One of the teachers thought he was called Night Creeper. He's not Night Creeper, he's Night Crawler. Still, people thought it was a good laugh, so they left it up. Annual dance February 3rd. See Allison for details. That's if Allison isn't being chased by a bunch of Skrulls or something. You never know what they're going to do. Why would they want her light powers anyway? Of course, the baseball classic, you see Kitty for details. She takes, well, I hate to say this, but she takes pride in what she does. And she's very good. She's our best baseball player. Unfortunately, that doesn't really mean much, but we do sometimes fight against the secret defenders if they exist, and usually they don't, thankfully. No flying in the halls. What can I say? If you're flying in the halls, I might accidentally think it was, well, Cannonball used to fly around, and he was worried that the place would get set on fire, and rightfully so. It does get set on fire. But also there is the problem that we might be worried that there's ghosts or something, and there are other people with other situations. I mean, if you're late to class, run if you have to. That's all I have to say. You shouldn't run either, actually. Never mind. Over here. Yes, here's a note to Peter. Please don't go back to Russia. We need you to fight Trump. I think he's going to be needed to fight Trump. I'm not sure exactly. It depends on if Trump is really a bad guy or what. This room was a kitchen. I don't know why it isn't a kitchen right now. You'll have to ask the cook. Here's the students' dining hall. As you can see, it's a nice place. I put up a painting. It's not a real painting. It's like, I don't know what that's supposed to be. And it's also kind of misaligned. I'm not very happy about that. But the students' dining hall indeed does work. Here's a closet, which we haven't put anything in. And we got a place here, which we're going to put a door in, and I haven't put the door in yet. You think for a place that was built in 1960, or before the 1963 that I inherited then, you'd think that this place would have been a little bit better kept, and it would have been well set up and is well acceptable to people, and would be all done very well. I mean, if I'm still having to fix this place up years and years later. But then I've just come back to this place after a hiatus. They thought I was dead. It's like I can understand that. I mean, after what took place in that volcano, you know, volcano bases are terrible, by the way. Never build in a volcano base. 3F is where the dorms are, but it's more than just the dorms. Again, we have a beautiful place with... There's X's everywhere. Why are there X's everywhere? That's better. I hate X's in this place. There should be W's in this place. And up the stairs. We'll go through that door in a minute. But first we'll go over here to where the dorms are. There's the girls' dorm. Nobody is here, which is why I'm giving the tour. When they're here, they keep interrupting me, and I can't give the tour. And the girls' dorm has a couple of rooms for changing and other things, and a nice little lounge, and yes, I'll get out there in a minute. And there's a little loft up here. Got another place for spending some time. I was going to put a couple more treasure chests, storage chests, but we've only got the one. The heck is that? Why does it got that on it? Well, it doesn't matter. I don't know what's in here. I think some of the students have been using this as a lounge. I may have another teacher in this room or something. I don't know yet. We haven't worked it out. Another unknown with some strange beds. You can't sleep in those beds. It's coming daylight. They should be back later, so I'm going to have to hurry up with this tour. The library. Now, who thinks it's spelled that way? I should change that, but I have to find out who did this, and then I can remind myself that somebody has to be punished for that prank. Some nice little places where you can stay, sit, and enjoy reading a good book. And good books are one of the most important things. We have the most books of any school that I know of. Tons and tons of the stuff. And a good separate reading environment. We may need to put more chairs in over here. But beyond that, it's a great thing. Probably need to put a table in here so we can sort the books to put them back. You know, that happens a lot. Whoa, that's bright in there. Is Sunfire here? Or is it Firestar? I can never remember. Don't care for the Hellions, actually. Here's the boys' dorm. Those naughty boys. What have they done? Yeah, it's a scene of battle. Yeah, they like going off to battle, don't they? They're all excited about being heroes. And they're not supposed to be heroes. You're really not supposed to be heroes. This isn't about being a hero. This is about doing the right thing, which isn't always the same thing. And it's about living a useful, productive life in society. Here's another lounge that can be used for reading purposes. I really don't know what we should use this room for. This also is good for having little impromptu meetings with the WMen. They're kind of upset that I now call them the WMen. I can understand why. Here's the female faculty room and the male faculty room. It's just standard things in chests and beds and little tables. And there was a problem with the plumbing facilities, and we're going to have to reinstall them in a couple of places. That's very unfortunate, but I think, strangely, I think that's the fault of the Molecule Man. What? I don't even know what that means. I mean, who is that? I don't know what they're talking about half the time. Okay, now I come out here. This was apparently originally not a place where people could walk around. I'm not done with the carpet, as you can see. Need to add more carpets. They will be added. Some little trees for purposes of gathering wood and also for having, well, trees, obviously. A little terrace area where you could sit around and enjoy a nice quiet afternoon. Now we've put down some cobble over here because we want to prevent the place catching on fire if lightning should strike it. There is a problem with this place. Lightning is a concern, you never know. And then over here we've got a nice swimming pool. WMen like their swimming pools. I can't imagine why. Especially Aurora. Up here. We've been converting the wooden fences into these fences, and we're not done over here. Yeah, we've got a small number of cattle. I forgot why exactly. I guess they need to eat their meat. How can they have their pudding if they don't eat their meat? That's not doing too well. I don't have anything with me that I could use, that I could hand off to them. And so we're done here. We're going to put some crops up there as well, because they need to eat, and we've got the place where we do have crops is a very unsanitary place, let's just say. So that's my WMansion. I hope you really enjoyed it. I mean, after all, there's always need for something. There's always need for something in this place, and where will people be able to spend time if they can't learn about how to be proper people? Being proper people is what this is all about. Has always been about it. And so, I bid you farewell. And if you know any mutants, let me know, and they can join the server. Good night. Ah, and the founder of this place was not me. It was this guy. It was Chuck Woolery.